heard someone speak once about the African American community being the canary of our society, that we really need to look at the black communities and the communities of poverty, because we can see what's coming down for all of us if we don't address them.
Here comes baby. I don't have any corn. Hello, baby. Hello, bienvenido, sweet baby. Okay. We're gonna wait for the next contraction. Hello, baby. Blessed child of the universe, you're coming through.
And so it got to that point where she was there, you know, in the tub. We had, you know, all the things that the inside was out, and they was in there, but it didn't even matter.
Tyree, you're doing it. Jessica, you're doing it.
And I caught my daughter, looked at her, and then brought her up and put her on her mom's breast, and she was just as calm. No drugs, no, and my wife said, "You did it! I did it! I did it!" And she was a warrior, and she's proven to me 3 or 4 times that she is the most powerful person that I know.
Aren't you read it, Mom? Yes, our baby. Yes. Thou hast come by the command of God. Thou hast appeared to speak of Him, and thou hast been caused to serve Him, who is the dear of the beloved. You're going to be a spiritual servant, Lord.
It was powerful. It was right now I feel an inner tremble because of going through that process, and that no one can take that from us.
Is that your feet, baby? Look, some colors coming out of one baby. Oh, I did it! We did it! We finally did it! We finally did it, baby!
You did it, baby.
Oh, my precious baby. Oh, yes, I love you so. Yes, you make me so happy. You always have.
It's a powerful thing, and if I could say anything to the fathers that are looking at this movie, if you choose to not participate from start to finish in this for your child, for all of your children, I mean, I would pay 15, 20, there's no cost, but I would pay $50,000 to experience what I experienced with this, with my child, with my wife. So if you're not really into it because you're cool, if you think that you macho, if you just above that, I'm telling you, y'all need to let all that go and participate in your child. Make sure you have a birth plan. If you choose to go to the hospital, cool. Make sure you have a midwife. Make sure you talk to the doctors. Make sure you let them know that this is what we want to happen. Can you honor this? Can you not go into panic mode? Can you follow what we want you to do? And if they don't say yes, I'm telling you, doing a home birth, doing a water birth, finding alternative options is really the only way to go. So that's my take on it. I was not on the other side of the glass. I've been there, and I empowered myself to come out of that, to be there for my family.
Bill Lord still plays the arm. Cool, he's cool as a fan. Very nice man.
Used to be that case of a guy named Randy Gross, the White Lodge. Randy was
With my wife, her mom got married, a few times to try to find that perfect, to heal the family unit. My mom tried to find other people, but really it was just us, and not having a father there. My wife told me specifically, and I felt it too, that the process of us loving our daughter and our children has healed us. Just by being it. It's healed us so much by sacrificing the time and singing and dancing and putting her to sleep. And so it's really healed both of us. And right now, internally, I feel there's the feeling that I can feel on the inside is like it's like my body is not really blood. It's just like a buoyancy is what I feel just sharing that to you. So that's powerful.
With this right here, it's copper to gold. Come on.
I don't know what you've been told. I don't know what you've been told.
How we supposed to know what y'all been told? With this right here, it's copper to gold.
Think you know what? You don't know the half. In the left,
What?
perfecting the craft. Made a million,
Yo.
so please do the math. Yeah, but my will,
So?
straight is me path.
She don't be,
Messing around with them clowns that frown.
she do get.
Down, expound these nouns like rounds. With renown that is down.
Crowds dig her sound.
Best in my class comes the masses
Crown pound for pound.
Been rapping for years, but to Hollywood I'm brand new.
But she's white.
That's right, don't treat me like a breakthrough. Long overdue, the whiskey's true was not
Pronto.
impromptu. Spent years of analysis.
Polishing her debut.
Like paralysis, we gonna
Change your worldview.
I'm not a one-hit wonder, and this is not a drive. You can run through with the revenue because I'm trying to
And you can
miss me with that foolishness and all this.
whoop-de-doo.
I don't know what you've been told. I don't know what you've been told. How we supposed to know what y'all been told? With this right here, it's hard to go. Come on. I don't know what you've been told. I don't know what you've been told. How we supposed to know what y'all been told? But this is a white girl rap with the best of y'all. Sounding like a nine gun. You want my rock? You want the rap?
Part 3 has emerged out of listening to fathers.
The connection I have with my son from being there and watching him come out and being one of the first people to hold him is without a doubt our connection that nobody can take away from us. And my daughter, her head came out, and it's funny, just as her head popped out, and I looked at her mom, I was like, yeah, I wasn't sure if I should cry or jump up for joy, but I was focused, like, okay, now's not the time. Get her out and let's make sure she's fine. And she came out and coughed, and she spit like a little mucus in my face. I was just like, wow. You know, and then she came out into my arms, and I caught her and was like, hi, welcome. Here's mommy, you know? And I was just like, wow. So now our connection, her and I connection since day one, she's, you know, she's fussing and I hold her and talk to her, she calms down. It's just like, oh, we do have a bond. It's different than being immediately ripped away from our parents and taken into a room and rolled around and mistreated and something stuck down your throat, and then it's...
But part 3 came about after talking with 2 African American fathers, both of whom had babies with other women before they had their babies that we're talking about. Both of them were home births. One of them was an unassisted birth.
Loma Shalom Lovemore.
Oh, that's a nice name.
Yes, we had her at home by ourselves. Her mother aided us slightly, but besides that, I did the clamping of the cord, the cutting, delivered the placenta, caught her when she came out, applied counter pressure to her hips through the contractions, and yeah, it was definitely an awesome experience.
And this father told me how he prepared to be the attendant for his baby.
There was an emergency childbirth guide that I guess Piper found online. Every day on my way to work and every day on my way home from work, I would stop and read, if it was a page or two, up into the birth. And it was like, you know, if you're in, and then, oh, bless you.
And both of these men began to tell me about how it was that this birth at home with a woman who knows her body, who knew her body's wisdom, who trusted her body in birth, how that empowered him as a man to become a father. And both of these births had no interventions. Everything was in their timing, the mother and the baby's timing. So we were talking about the African American community and how it's a canary. And out of this has emerged the focus of part 3, which is if having an empowered birth at home with a woman who knows her body and is supported, has the greatest care, and she's allowed to follow her body and her instincts, if this can change the lives so dramatically of African American men, imagine what it can do in our society for a man to be empowered by his baby's birth.
We have to preserve this contact at all costs. No matter what we have to do, we have to make sure that this baby and this mother remain
We follow
in
the
contact.
intuition of the mother, and they're
And it's
paying us.
This is the
And we follow the
neurological.
birth plan.
This is the
But
neurological.
how could we change the world if we did that?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the neurological basis of empathy. The initial empathic bond between the child and the mother. This is where it all starts. And if you sever that connection, who knows?
This is what you get.
What is the word of God on this?
No, we don't really have time for that. But
Just
I
a little
think,
bit
well,
summarize?
Well, I guess the basis of it is that our civilization has really, at a certain point, lost its belief in our Creator, that it can actually create, it can actually count on an unknown entity. So science kind of took over. And we look at our technology, it doesn't really serve. Most of the things that we have don't really serve us. So when we figure out a way to have science and religion, which are two tools that are used to investigate reality. One, the physical, one the metaphysical, one the spiritual, one the physical. And they actually work together. then we can start having the type of society that's healthy, where our media actually helps the human psyche, where our news and everything, we can look at everything and say, you know what, is it really serving us? So it's a process. And like I said, we're a very young nation. And we only have 6,000 years of recorded history, but we know the earth is millions and millions of years old. And so to think that we know is...
America is so adolescent.
Cause my fantasy is terrifying. Just smoking cat with the foolishness is multiplying. No equity, no equality, shoot no peace. Only destruction in the belly of these ghetto streets. To say the least, we was cold before they called us cold. We have riches beyond comparable to we want it more.